This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome into you. I'm Rebecca Smith.
I'm Bill Brandt. Good to have you with us on this Thursday morning. All of a sudden busy in our newsroom. We have a lot going on. Now at 6 a.m., Donald Trump will formally be accepting the Republican presidential nomination tonight. It comes a day after his former rival Ted Cruz refused to endorse him at the convention.
And thousands braved the heat to go Pokemon hunting at Commonwealth Stadium.
We're looking at some pretty steamy conditions outside early this morning, right there in the upper 60s, lower 70s. It's really toward the afternoon. We'll be in the low 90s in the forecast, and only a slight chance at a pop-up shower thunderstorm by the afternoon. It's going to be much like yesterday. Then we do it all over again tomorrow, and then the heat really ramps up there Friday into your weekend. We're going to get into that coming up.
Here's the latest from WKYT News. We're following a developing story in Boyle County this morning. It is tragic. Police are at the scene of a deadly accident. 3 people killed just about an hour ago.
Michelle Chamberlain is at our alert desk with details on this.
The Boyle County coroner confirmed to us that 3 people were killed in a single car crash this morning. Here's a map of the area. Now, the crash happened a little before 5 this morning on Kentucky 33 and Faulkner Lane. That's just north of Danville. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says the vehicle involved caught on fire. Now, the coroner could not elaborate just yet on who is involved in this crash. Of course, keep this in mind for your morning travels. Kentucky 33 is expected to be closed for several hours. We just heard word that it could be closed for 4 more hours. It is closed in both directions. Now, we have a crew headed to the scene this morning, and we'll keep you up to date throughout the morning here on WKYT.
Obviously, a lot to investigate, the circumstances. Anytime you have a fatality, and in this case 3, a lot to look into. All right, Michelle, thank you. Keep us updated.
Well, Donald Trump formally accepts his party's presidential nomination today. He's expected to. Of course, it's the final day of the Republican National Convention.
Newly minted vice presidential nominee Mike Pence made a case for Trump on the day 3 of the convention last night, but his moment was overshadowed some by boos for Senator Ted Cruz, who refused to endorse Trump.
We will unite the party, we will unite the country by standing together for shared values, by standing for liberty. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the United States of America.
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie called Cruz's decision not to endorse Trump totally selfish.
Kentucky State Senator Ralph Alvarado of Winchester was among the speakers for the day for the convention last night.
Senator Alvarado, who's a family doctor, focused on the Hispanic influence in this country, as well as his own family. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk with more on the senator's speech. Mark?
Good morning, Bill. Senator Alvarado talked for 6 minutes. He started off by telling the crowd he worked hard to become Kentucky's first Hispanic member elected to the General Assembly.
And now I have a message for my Spanish-speaking Latino friends at home. A mis hermanos hispanos.
Alvarado focused on Latino voters last night, speaking briefly in Spanish. It's the first time at this convention that a speaker has directly appealed to Spanish-speaking voters. Alvarado talked about his parents quite often last night. He said his father immigrated from Costa Rica and his mother immigrated from Argentina to find a better life here. The state senator says many other immigrants have similar stories. They've come to the U.S. to flee dishonesty and corruption. He asked voters to keep that from happening in this country.
It is not a decision this year about America moving left or about America moving right. It's a decision about America going up or America going down. And by protecting the American dream, we can make America first again.
Alvarado went on to say that he thinks there's only one candidate who can do that, and he asked Latinos to vote for Donald Trump in November. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
The search is on for an escapee in eastern Kentucky. The jail says that 36-year-old Stephen Moore escaped from the Letcher County Jail last night. Moore used a homemade tool to cut through a fence that surrounds the outdoor recreation area of the roof on the jail. Moore is 5'9" and weighs 174 pounds. He was last seen wearing orange jail pants.
A southern Kentucky man is behind bars after leading police on a chase with 5 children in the car with him. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says deputies tried to pull over Brandon Fouch last night on Ravenswood Circle, but he refused to stop. At one point, deputies say Fouch reached speeds of 60 miles per hour while driving through a neighborhood. When Fouch finally did stop, deputies found his wife, his 5-month-old child and 4 other children in the car with him. Fouch is facing multiple charges now, including wanton endangerment.
Since July 5th, the Boyle County coroner says 5 people have died because of heroin-related overdoses. And now the community there is rallying around to address the problem. A group called FIGHT, which stands for Families Into Getting Help Together, recently formed in Danville as an effort to stop the recent drug epidemic. More than 100 people gathered last night to talk about what actions they will now take. Several people talked about how drug addiction has impacted their lives. A medical doctor also spoke about what he feels should be done.
And we need to run these drug dealers out of this county, out of this region. They need to know if they come to Danville, they're going to jail.
Moving forward, the group said they will look towards educating local school children on the dangers of drugs. The group plans to meet again on August 8th. Family members of a missing Nelson County mother say they just want answers in the investigation into her disappearance. Crystal Rogers has not been seen since last July. Her boyfriend, Brooks Houck, is a suspect, but so far has not been charged by police. We've learned that Houck's grandmother, Anna Whitesides, has now agreed to answer questions prepared by prosecutors, but the questioning will be private. Prosecutors plan to talk to Whitesides about her car. Investigators think it may have been used to get rid of Rogers' body.
It's a source of pride in the Lexington neighborhood, but police say it also became the target for vandals. Police say vandals desecrated the American flag and its flagpole in the Blackford Oaks neighborhood off Man o' War. The same display was also vandalized on Memorial Day. Police say they have not made any arrests for the vandalism, but they plan on increasing patrols in that neighborhood. And some neighborhood officials say repairs to the display are expected to cost thousands of dollars. The University of Kentucky Board of Trustees Executive Committee will be meeting today. They'll be reviewing the annual evaluation of UK President Eli Capilouto. About a month ago, trustees extended Capilouto's contract by 3 years. The board also gave him a 48% pay raise, increasing his salary from just over $535,000 a year to $790,000 a year. Capilouto became the university's president in 2011. More than 1,000 people packed Commonwealth Stadium to play Pokemon Go yesterday. UK opened up the stadium for a few hours so players could hunt for Pokemon. Officer Don flew over the stadium in sky first so he could kind of get a look at how things were going there.
Nearly 1,400 people came out to the event. Players dealt with the game's server problems for a brief time, which is a common issue apparently with this game. But once things got going, Pokemon started to appear all over the field. Players who came out said it was a very cool experience.
They had some fun.
Hopefully they stayed cool.
That's right. Well, it's been hot. Let's check weather for you now.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Defender Radar Network, nothing going on early this morning as you walk out the door, and it actually feels pretty decent. It's really not that bad of a feel as you're heading outside. The problem here is the heat is on its way. Listen, it's been hot the past couple of days, but it gets scorching hot, downright nasty the next few days, because what we're going to be seeing here is this system gets a little bit closest. What happens is, as this system pushes eastbound, it's going to push all that warm air toward us. So all this warm air slides this way, and it comes right over us and the upcoming days. Already a heat advisory in effect across 65 corridor, and that goes from Louisville to Fort Knox, even Bardstown included with that in Nelson County, and down to I-65 back toward the west through Saturday. So it's not really for our viewing area, only a couple of locations back toward the west. But watch that. That will actually move this way into our viewing area the next couple of days. Temperatures upper 60s, lower 70s. Like I said, this morning isn't all that bad. Look at the afternoon, 92 degrees. Put that in perspective. Yesterday it was at 91. But remember, these dew points, the measure of moisture in the air, sitting there in the mid 60s. It's not too bad. Just wait, and you're saying, not too bad. Did you go outside yesterday? Just wait till you get into Friday and Saturday. It gets way worse, I promise you that. Even with temperatures at 90 degrees, dew points are going to be in the 70s. It's not going to feel good. Heat index near 100 degrees tomorrow. Today and tomorrow, kind of carbon copies of each other. Most are dry. Most of us will not see any rain, but you could have a pop-up shower thunderstorm like we had yesterday. We actually had it pop right over here in Georgetown and also Lexington. Moves southbound, it doesn't move fast, and that's pretty much what you're going to be left with today and tomorrow. A summer-like pattern. Now, Saturday into Sunday, look at those heat index values, 98 to 103 for everybody. That's not for just a couple locations. A couple locations could be 104, 105 showing up on these particular models. So it gets really hot there for the weekend. Watch out for a storm or two there on Saturday and on Sunday. Your 7-day forecast wraps up like this: 92, 93 today and tomorrow. Only a pop-up shower thunderstorm by the afternoon. It's mainly Saturday and Sunday. You get a few storms moving on in. None of that's a washout. Just keep in mind you might have to dodge a thunderstorm or two, but it's really about the heat. Try to stay inside as much as possible.
Those utility bills feeling it too.
Oh yeah, they're really.
You almost want those storms to come by.
That's right,
to kind of
cool you off a little,
little bit. Yeah. Micah, thank you. 6:10 right now.
Let's get a look at traffic, see what's happening this morning.
Here's Officer Don with a look at what's happening out there on the roads. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. Downtown looks okay. Just check South Broadway. That problem we had near Angliana has been cleared. North Broadway is a straight shot from the circle toward downtown, and didn't see any problems on the north side at all so far. Let's get a look outside, and we'll show you what to expect as you head out the door. That first is a live look at Lexington rush hour traffic flow, what we're seeing on Nicholasville Road and, of course, on the Circle and Man of War. Drive times are holding our own inbound from Nicholasville, no problems. Same deal coming in from Richmond. A live look at Newtown Pike and I-75. That's courtesy of the Lexington Fayette Urban County government there. Off to a great start. Now back to you in the studio. Okay, and for our friends certainly over in the Danville area, north of Danville there in Boyle County right now, there has been a triple fatality accident about an hour ago, and Kentucky 33 is closed in both directions north of Danville. We'll be keeping you updated on that. 6:11 now, more news coming up on WKYT on your Thursday.
Hundreds of Southwest flights are delayed or canceled this morning. Why? Computer issues to blame. After the break.
6:15, if you're just joining us on WKYT this morning, there has been a triple fatality accident near Danville. Let's go to Michelle at the alert desk with new details on the deadly crash.
Yeah, our crew just arrived on the scene. This is a live look at what we're told is a triple fatal crash involving 3 people this morning. That crash happened a little before 5 o'clock this morning on Kentucky 33 and Faulkner Lane. That's just north of Danville. Now, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says the vehicle involved caught on fire. The coroner confirming to us that 3 people were killed. Only 1 car was involved. And this is another live look at the scene. There are still many questions about how this crash happened this morning. We're going to be on the scene all morning tracking down more details. Now, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet does expect Kentucky 33 to be closed for several hours this morning. We're being told at least 4 more hours. It's Kentucky 33 going both directions. That's just north of Danville. Of course, we'll keep it up to date right here on WKYT throughout the morning. You can also check out our website, WKYT.com, for updates on this story as well as our top stories. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
It's a horrible situation over there, but again, anyone who uses Kentucky 33 closed for several hours, and just an awful scene, and we'll get the details as they come in. Well, Donald Trump formally accepts his party's presidential nomination later today. It's the final day of the Republican National Convention.
The theme of the night is Make America One Again, but as Weijia Zhang reports from Cleveland, day 3 of the convention has thrown party unity into question.
Day 3 of the RNC was supposed to be all about Vice Presidential nominee Mike Pence.
I accept your nomination to run and serve as Vice President.
But the Indiana governor's moment became overshadowed by bad blood between Donald Trump and former rival Ted Cruz.
Stand and speak and vote your conscience. Vote for candidates up and down the ticket who you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to the Constitution.
The Texas senator was enthusiastically booed during his speech for failing to endorse the billionaire.
God bless the United States.
The jeers quickly turned to cheers as Trump entered the arena. He later brushed off the non-endorsement as no big deal via Twitter, saying, "I saw his speech 2 hours early, but let him speak anyway." Hillary Clinton used Cruz's own words to capitalize on the moment, urging people to vote their conscience and choose her in November. Cruz's last stand came just 1 day before Trump takes center stage here in Cleveland tonight. Reaction to Cruz from delegates was mixed.
If this guy wants to save his political future, he's going to have to come to the table, but it was an embarrassment.
I think he gave a message that was clear, but he also gave a message that wasn't forced. So I think it was well said.
Ivanka Trump is expected to address unity tonight before her father formally accepts the GOP presidential nomination. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Cleveland, Ohio.
Hillary Clinton's campaign is expecting Trump's remarks to focus on her, just as many of the convention speakers this week have. They released a new video ahead of his remarks highlighting all of the nice things he had to say about her before the bitter campaign. More arrests could come as crowds outside the Republican National Convention say they plan to protest again today. They plan to hold an afternoon parade and evening rally as Donald Trump prepares to accept the Republican nomination for president. A flag burning in the streets outside the convention yesterday sparked the most turbulent protests of the week and resulted in 17 arrests.
Travel problems continue today for passengers delayed by technical issues plaguing Southwest Airlines. Several of the airline's computer systems went down yesterday, and it caused hundreds of delays or cancellations. Southwest officials have been working throughout the night. They're asking for your patience as the airline works to try to get back to normal operations.
What a mess. 6:19 is the time this morning. 3 in every 5 Americans think the 9-to-5 workday is a thing of the past. The Career Builder survey found that part of the explanation so many Americans already take their jobs home. 45% of workers say they finish their work outside office hours. 49% check or answer emails after they leave work. The middle class is being squeezed. New analysis of data from the Congressional Budget Office shows 81% of middle-class American households had falling or flat income in the decade ending in 2014. It's a global trend. More than 2/3 of middle-income households in advanced economies around the world had stagnant or falling incomes. Well, Facebook may have found a way to make the internet speed on your smartphone much faster using lasers. The company's connectivity lab says it's achieved 2 gigabit wireless internet using technology similar to fiber optic cables, but without the actual cable. It's intended for rural areas with weak internet service. If you have hot dogs or corn dogs in the fridge, check the label before you eat them. Interesting here on this National Junk Food Day, by the way, which it is. According to the USDA, Bar S Foods Company is recalling more than 370,000 pounds of its hot and corn dogs that may be contaminated with listeria. The affected products were made with chicken and pork between July 10th and the 13th. Officials say if you have these foods, throw them away or bring them back to the store for a refund. Listeria can cause a serious infection that primarily affects pregnant women, newborns, and the elderly. The company says the recall is a precautionary step right now, and there have been no reports of anyone becoming sick. Hopefully a newborn's not eating a hot dog.
You would hope not, right?
Yeah.
But better safe than sorry on those. Check it out and throw them out. Our time this morning is 6:21, and we're just getting started with all the latest news. Good to have you with us on this Thursday. We can see that weekend in sight now. Coming up, a construction worker is helping kids at a children's hospital by letting them play a real-life game of Where's Waldo?
This is one of the better feeling mornings in the forecast, but I'll tell you this afternoon, here comes some heat, and it just gets worse and worse as we move along in your 7-day. I'll have that coming up next.
Welcome back.
6:24 now on WKYT. Busy day
Yes.
in our newsroom with new details coming in.
We are gathering the latest on a triple fatal crash in Boyle County.
That's what is trending at this hour. I want to let you know it happened just before 5 o'clock this morning on Kentucky 33 at Faulkner Lane, north of Danville. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says the vehicle involved caught on fire, and the coroner has confirmed to WKYT News that 3 people were killed and only 1 car is involved in this. You're looking at the scene at this point. We will have more on this developing story coming up at 6:30. Now, a quick check of the weather forecast. Heat and humidity teaming up again today. Here's Micah.
Yeah, here we go with it again. 70 degrees to start off today. It's actually pretty nice once you step out the door. It's really not all that bad. So if you're one of those that like to exercise in the morning, it's a much better start than the past couple of mornings, even though it's 70 degrees. Dew points still aren't very high. They become very high in the next couple of days. 92 by the afternoon, hot, humid, mainly dry. I'm not saying fully dry because we could have a pop-up shower or thunderstorm in towards your afternoon hours. And that summertime pattern just rolls on. It takes over. It really becomes much hotter the next couple of days. And I'm going to show you those heat index values near triple digits coming up.
Okay, it just sounds
Yikes.
brutal, doesn't it? All
Yes,
right.
it does.
Yeah.
Well, an Indiana construction worker is playing a real-life game of Where's Waldo with patients at a children's hospital.
The man is helping build a new wing of the hospital, and he built an 8-foot Waldo that he moves around the construction site every day, giving the young patients a game of hide and seek to play from their windows. And they all seem to enjoy it, take their minds off their troubles just a little bit.
Where's Waldo? There's Waldo.
There he is. All right. It looks like fun.
Yeah.
Good to have you with us now on WKYT this morning with a lot more coming up. All of our top stories in just a bit, including the update on the triple fatality near Danville.
Well, a Kentucky-based pizza chain is named in a new lawsuit by popular chain restaurant. The explanation at 6:30.
Tomorrow's Mega Millions is $15 million. Saturday's Powerball is $390 million. We'll be right back on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome in. It's your Thursday, and we're glad you're on WKYT. I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. Hope you're having a great day before Friday.
We have a lot going on. Now at 6:30, we do have breaking news. 3 people are dead after a single-car crash on Kentucky 33. It's north of Danville. We'll have some new details just coming in just ahead.
Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin talks to us from the Republican National Convention about his party's future.
And Lexington Restaurant Week kicks off today. The events and the deals that come with that ahead on WKYT this morning.
Another good-looking start to the day. No problems outside early this morning. Actually feels quite nice. We get into the afternoon. It's going to be a warm and steamy day in store, but it actually gets even hotter as we head throughout the next few days. I'm going to show you those numbers. We have triple digits for heat index values coming up.
We are staying on top of a breaking news alert out of Boyle County. 3 people are dead this morning after a crash.
Tragic situation. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain is at our alert desk with some new details that we now have. Michelle?
Yeah, guys, we just had a crew arrive at the scene, and you can see a live look at the scene. The car involved in this crash, I don't know if you can tell, but it's about to be towed. We were told at one point that car involved was completely engulfed in flames. We're also told that at least 3 people were in that car. Those 3 people have been killed. Now, that crash happened a little before 5 o'clock this morning on Kentucky 33 and Faulkner Lane. That's just north of Danville. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says the vehicle involved, like I told you, did catch on fire. Now, the coroner confirming to us that at least 3 people killed. Only 1 car was involved. Here's another live look at the scene that we can take this morning. There are still many questions about how this crash happened this morning, and we're going to be at the scene all morning tracking down more information for you. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet does expect Kentucky 33 to be closed for at least 4 more hours. And of course, we'll keep it up to date throughout the morning right here on WKYT.
Well, they want a very thorough investigation of any time there's a fatality, and especially with a triple fatality, so a lot to look into, the fire and all of that, and of course our thoughts are to the families as they're being notified. Well, tonight is Donald Trump's chance to speak to the nation from the Republican National Convention and to accept his party's nomination for president.
Last night, competing passions were on display as former GOP rival Ted Cruz took the stage but refused to endorse his former rival. The crowd became angry and chanted, "Endorse Trump," over the former presidential candidate's speech. Take a listen.
Vote for candidates up and down the ticket who you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to the Constitution.
Cruz mentioned Trump's name just once to congratulate him on winning the nomination. He spent almost his entire speech endorsing general conservative values.
Ted Cruz's non-endorsement is giving some new fodder to Hillary Clinton's campaign. The former Secretary of State pounced on the moment on social media, urging voters, as the Texas senator did, to vote their conscience. Clinton's camp also released a video ahead of Trump's remarks tonight, highlighting all of the so-called nice things that he has said about her over the years. Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin has been at the Republican National Convention throughout the week, showing his support for Donald Trump.
And last night, the governor spoke with our sister station, WYMT, about unity within the Republican Party. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk with more.
Good morning, Rebecca. Governor Bevin says the unification process has finally begun now that Donald Trump has fought his way through a highly contentious 17-way primary and clinched the Republican nomination.
It is our honor to cast our vote.
Bevin says you can really start to get a sense that people are unifying around the billionaire businessman at the convention. The governor is throwing his full support behind Trump. He's backing him because a majority of Republican voters in Kentucky support him. Bevin also thinks Trump is more qualified for the office of president than Hillary Clinton.
She is somebody who is corrupt. She has any number of catastrophes that have followed her entire life. She has become enriched at the taxpayer expense, and I frankly think she is a disservice to our servicemen and women. Her utter disregard for the rule of law, I think, disqualifies her from even being considered.
Now, up until now, Bevin has waited to endorse a candidate for president. Now that Donald Trump is a Republican nominee, Bevin is asking voters to rally around him and vote for him in November. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, Mark, thank you very much.
Well, things really heating up there and here as well. The heat and humidity really being felt this week throughout central Kentucky. Unfortunately, it's not going anywhere.
In fact, those temperatures going up, the humidity moving in even more oppressively. And meteorologist Micah Harris is in our First Alert Weather Center with that.
As we always talk about, it's not so much the temperatures, it's the actual humidity here during the summer hours, or summertime, that is. And once we travel off into the afternoon, trust me on this, it actually gets much worse in the upcoming days. 69 right now in Frankfort. Not a bad feel as you're walking out the door early this morning. Only a slight chance at a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, just like we had yesterday, where most stay dry. But if you get on one of those thunderstorms, it actually cools you off just a bit. So lucky you if you did. 92 degrees there by the afternoon. 92 degrees this afternoon is not going to feel as hot as 90 degrees that I have in my 7-day on Saturday. The reason being, here comes much more moisture, and that's going to pump up those heat index values to triple digits. So I'm going to show you that. We'll talk about that, and also a few storms for the weekend. That's coming up.
Okay, get ready for that heat. Thank you very much, Micah. New on WKYT this morning, a woman was seriously injured during an overnight police chase in Mercer County. The sheriff's office there says it started with what should have been a simple traffic stop in Harrodsburg, but police say the driver sped off, leading them on a chase for more than 30 minutes before crashing on Cap Bottom Road, where he was arrested. Christopher Richardson was taken to the hospital. He apparently has minor injuries, but deputies say a woman in the car with him was seriously hurt, and they're monitoring her condition to see if Richardson will be facing more charges.
A father and son charged in connection with the Pulaski County shooting death will return to court this morning. Rexel and Jesse Brown are charged for the October 2015 shooting death of Danny Poor at a Pulaski County cabin. Rexel Brown pleaded guilty to manslaughter in exchange for 15 years in prison. Jesse Brown pleaded guilty to being a felon in possession of a handgun in exchange for a 10-year sentence. Both the men will be formally sentenced later this morning.
The newly created University of Louisville Board of Trustees will be holding a special meeting today, the very same day that a judge is scheduled to hold a hearing about whether the new board is legal. Governor Matt Bevin replaced the board with an executive order last month. Attorney General Andy Beshear sued Bevin, arguing the order was illegal. Later today, Beshear will ask a state judge to block Bevin's order. It's one of 3 pending lawsuits pitting Beshear against Bevin. Well, Panera is suing a former executive and Kentucky-based Papa John's over trade secrets.
The restaurant chain alleges that a former executive who left to go to work for Papa John's took trade secrets with him. The lawsuit says the executive worked for 4 years as a VP in Panera's information technology department with access to highly sensitive, confidential information and trade secrets. He just started working for Papa John's on Monday. Papa John says it's disappointed in the lawsuit and does not consider Panera a competitor. Florida health officials testing mosquitoes in the Miami area to confirm whether a woman with the virus could be the first person infected directly by a mosquito bite in the continental United States. Health officials say the woman has not traveled outside of the country. More than 1,300 Zika infections have been reported in the U.S., but this could be the first transmission of Zika from a mosquito bite in the United States.
All right, something to keep an eye on. Bless you, a little late on
Thank
that
you.
one. Yeah. All right, it is a busy day here in central Kentucky. There'll be a lot of events and things going on that you might want to get in on.
Well, that's always
Thursday.
good. You know, it's always going to have things to do. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet will hold a meeting this evening in Lexington to discuss improvements to US 27 under the R.J. Corman Railroad Bridge. The meeting will be open to the public. It takes place from 5:30 until 7:30 this evening at Community Ventures Corporation on North Broadway Road.
Yeah, folks might want to get in on that, have their desires known.
There will be a unity march in Frankfort this evening. Folks will gather to show support for law enforcement. That march begins at 5:30 at Capitol Avenue and 2nd Street. Anyone going is asked to park on top of the Capitol parking garage. And in Berea, there will be a fundraiser tonight for West Virginia flood victims. The fundraiser starts at 7 at the Church on the Rock on Richmond Road. A couple of gospel bands will be there performing. Well, if you have been wanting to try a new restaurant, now is a great time to do it. Lexington Restaurant Week also kicks off today and runs through July 30th. Apiary Fine Catering and Events held a kickoff earlier this week. For the next 10 days, more than 3 dozen local restaurants will offer special menus at a reduced cost, and part of the proceeds will benefit Lex Arts. You can find a list of all restaurants participating and their menus at LexingtonRestaurantWeek.com.
We've been having them in on our noon newscast, and you know, they're bringing a spread of food.
Oh, wow.
A great meal at a real nice.
Sounds delicious.
Nice deal. So yeah, it's going to be fun. 6:40 now on WKYT this morning.
Let's get a check of traffic right now.
See what's going on. Here is Officer Don with a check on live drive traffic. Don?
Good morning. Of course, we still have that very horrible collision on Kentucky 33 just outside of Danville near Faulkner, where they have 33 shut down in Boyle County because of the triple fatality. We'll have more on that throughout the morning, but 33 is still closed. Here in Lexington, the inner and outer loops of the circle are moving without any problems. The exit ramp at Nicholasville Road, that stalled car is now out of the way, so both lanes are open as we get an overall look at Lexington traffic flow. And as far as what we're seeing outside right now, off to a good start. No major issues to report. That camera courtesy of the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government. A live look at inbound Nicholasville Road at New Circle. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, Don, appreciate the update. And you can get the latest traffic and weather information anytime with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. Download that for free in the app or Google Play stores. Hey, we want to say good morning again. Good to have you with us here on this Thursday on WKYT. A lot more news right on the way.
A 90-year-old Oklahoma grandma shows no signs of slowing down. Wow, look at that.
Man.
Is she really? Is she really?
We'll have that story just ahead.
And that's probably the best place to be there at Pool, Lake, River. That's the best place because it's going to be extremely hot the next upcoming 2 or 3 days. We're going to get into that. I'm going to show you a heat advisory in our forecast coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We're looking across the area, and I don't see much going on early this morning. I'm meteorologist Micah Harris. Here's the look outside as you're walking out the door. I don't see any problems whatsoever. I do want to show you something down toward the south that's actually kind of cool. Look at this, and remember, radar can pick up so many different things. It doesn't just have to be rain. But you see this that's actually rolling around Williamsburg? Look at the bats or birds. It's one or the other that are actually flying out of Williamsburg, leaving Williamsburg. See you later, Williamsburg. They're taking off, man. They're heading to other cities. But you see that picking up? Yeah, that's pretty cool. That little ring around Williamsburg. It's a pretty neat shot right there early this morning. Let's talk about what's going on and what will affect us. Birds and bats just don't affect us all that much. The Fender Radar Network, there's the look back toward the west. Heat advisory in effect, I-65 and westbound. Going to western Kentucky, that's through Saturday. So that goes in through noon today through Saturday. That does include a couple of you guys that can actually view us back towards 65 corridor and also Nelson County, Bardstown. You guys are included in this. Here's what I expect, because this was actually situated back toward the Mississippi Valley region. Now they're in excessive heat warning. We don't want that, but I'll tell you this, triple digits are expected there for the heat index in the next couple of days. So watch this actually move eastbound into our viewing area the next 24 to 48 hours. We're at 69 degrees in Frankfort, 69 in Lexington, right around 70 degrees elsewhere. It's not a bad start today, actually pretty nice. I've already stepped outside and it doesn't feel too bad. Hot and humid by the afternoon, though, I promise you that, trying to get the kids out the door. You trying to head out to the parks, the lakes, the rivers. I'll tell you this, the body of water is definitely in need today, tomorrow, off into your weekend, because it's going to be very, very warm. Look at these heat index values showing up there. 100 degrees is going to be pretty common for tomorrow off into your weekend. Now, here's the deal. Remember, that's where the heat advisories are set up, right? 65 west. That's the reason. But watch as we head off into your weekend. Watch these numbers continue to just bump up, okay? Going off into Saturday afternoon. Look at this, 104, 105, 105, 105. I mean, they're all over the map. Just keep in mind, here comes that heat, and it will be with us. We're extremely confident we are going to have that heat tomorrow off into your weekend. It gets much worse because look at your temperature, 90 degrees on Saturday, right? You're saying, well, it's 92 today. Look at the forecast for your 7-day. It's 93 for tomorrow. Why is it going to be so much hotter on Saturday and Sunday? That's because moisture streaming on in. And as we always talk about, it's all about the humidity, not the temperature, especially in the summertime. And we're going to be feeling it the next few days. I promise you that. It could be dangerous in towards your Friday into your weekend. Got to keep that in mind.
One of those deals where the thermometer doesn't tell the whole story.
That's right. That's right. The moisture does.
Yeah, it does.
And the utility bill does. I just looked at my email and saw how much came out.
Yeah.
Way up.
Yeah, you don't want to see that. AC is cranking. All right. Micah, thank you. Coming up on 6:48.
If you happen to take a visit to Lake Tenkiller in Oklahoma this summer, you just may see something really extraordinary.
Meet Millie Sullins, the water skiing great-grandma. Not only is this 90-year-old skier better than most, she even prefers to slalom ski.
Wow.
Look at that, unbelievable. She says that she rides behind the same boat that she and her late husband bought in 1960, and she has taught her grandkids to ski behind it. Handing down the skiing tradition is all that Millie says that she really wants to do. And for anyone looking for her secret, she does have a little advice.
Hang out and go for it. I mean, you know, if you fall, get up and go again. No fun sitting home in the rocking chair.
Well said. A local marina owner recently found out about Millie's talent and has since proclaimed her the best skier on the lake.
That's amazing. Look at her.
I love her attitude. Go for it.
Yeah, I love it. She is
That's
inspirational,
right.
isn't she?
She is. Well, as you go for it today on this Thursday, we're glad you're with us on WKYT 649. In just a moment, we'll have some of our top stories.
Yeah, stay with us.
Coming up, Republican delegates boo Ted Cruz for not endorsing Donald Trump. We'll talk with John Heilman and Bob Schieffer about the fallout. Plus, Eric Trump and Newt Gingrich join us the morning after their speeches. More real news coming up on CBS This Morning, next.
Welcome back. It's 6:52 this morning. A Kentucky highway is still closed after a deadly crash in Boyle County.
That's one of the stories making headlines this morning. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain joining us now with a look at what is trending on the web. Michelle?
Point Training Center. That's just north of Danville. Once again, this was a crash that killed 3 people on Kentucky 33 just before 5 o'clock this morning. Now, we're told there were no children involved. The car caught fire after the crash. No names have been released. Also, check out our story about Papa John's being sued by Panera Bread. The sandwich chain says a top executive who left for the Kentucky-based chain took trade secrets with him. You can read Papa John's response on WKYT.com. Those are just some of the stories making headlines this morning. Of course, it's another hot day out there. You can check out our forecast anytime at WKYT.com.
A Jessamine County woman faces charges after police say she stole more than $1 million from a central Kentucky business. Joyce Minton is accused of embezzling money from Clark Tool and Die. Police say she embezzled the money over an 11-year period while serving as the company's bookkeeper. But when the company's owners noticed things weren't adding up, that's when they contacted police.
The office manager was in charge of keeping the books. The office manager was in charge of writing the checks. And that's why, what we found is that she was able to hide it for so long.
Minton is charged with theft by failure to make required disposition of property. Police say Minton and her son, Aaron Warren, who also worked at Clark Tool and Die, face charges for using company money to buy an engine for a race car. A special salute was held in Frankfort for police officers around the state and across the country. Both the state capitol and the governor's mansion lit up in blue last night. In a Facebook post, Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin said it was in honor of the Thin Blue Line. Kentucky State Police replied with a thanks on their Facebook. The governor says the 2 buildings will be lit up in blue again this evening.
Well, have you heard about this? A group of loose horses shut down traffic in both directions on I-74 in Cincinnati yesterday. At least 4 horses were spotted traveling in a group near the interstate. After more than an hour of backed up traffic there near the Queen City, the horses were finally safely recaptured by authorities and taken away from the scene.
They may have qualified for the Olympics, but that does not mean all Olympic athletes are raking in the cash. That's because high-dollar corporate sponsorships are typically reserved only for the top competitors in the most popular Olympic sports like swimming or gymnastics. That's where Dick's Sporting Goods comes into play. The store has called something called the Contenders Program, which gives elite athletes with a few sponsorship opportunities a chance to earn some cash while they train for gold. Since last fall, Dick's has hired 200 prospective Olympic and Paralympic qualifiers. More than 20 of those athletes have now qualified for Rio. Last night on the Late Late Show, the First Lady, Michelle Obama, joined James Corden for carpool karaoke. They drove around the White House grounds singing Stevie Wonder and Beyonce. Surprise guest Missy Elliott even dropped in to sing This Is For My Girls, which was executive produced by A.L. Wellmakers in support of Let Girls Learn, the nonprofit organization that President Obama and the First Lady founded to ensure that every girl in the world has access to education. Well, cannot resist hitting up the vending machine at work. You know who you are. Indulge your craving today. That's the word, because it's National Junk Food Day. So-called junk food is the stuff that we all like to snack on. Enjoy one of your guilty pleasures today. Hey, why not? I know I probably will.
It's your day, right?
Isn't that
you told me earlier
day?
that my weakness doesn't qualify, peanuts and cashews, you know?
No, that's healthy, Bill.
Unless you eat too many of them, right? Let's check in with
anyway,
Mike
nice
before
try.
yeah, steamy temperatures. We're going to have that humidity out there as well. And here's Micah.
Yeah, and the humidity is what it's all about. We drive off into your afternoon, 92 degrees. It will be hot. It will be humid. And we'll stay mainly dry just like the past couple of days where you have a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, and that's about it. So most of us stay dry today and for tomorrow. But the heat index near 100 tomorrow. It really gets above 100 on Saturday as we're looking for a storm or two there for the weekend. And it's all about the heat the next few days, guys. It's really about that 98 degrees to 103 degrees. That's for everybody. That's for everybody watching this morning. You will feel that at least somewhere in that range as we travel off through the next couple of days. Some a little bit higher.
We're all in it together.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's left out on this one, I promise you that.
Nobody. All right, get ready for it. Nobody's more up to date than you to start your day. Thank you for being with us on WKYT.
Bye-bye.